Welcome back, Noodle Squad. I am your host, Noel Mulkey, and it has been, I want to say, like 4 or 5 weeks since I've been on the mic, but I have a so it's been a while, so bear with me. I just got back from Japan for the last month, actually, and this has kind of been the project that this podcast has kind of been a project that I put on the back burner, but we're bringing it back this winter, all winter, and we're starting with a guest who was kind of is infamous in triathlon forever. He actually was a coach of mine back in 2022 for a few months. His name is Colin Chartier. I've always said Chartier. Okay, but it's Colin Chartier. And he was actually in this sport. Well, sorry, he was a coach of mine for, I want to say, like, was it like 6 months or something? But more importantly, he was a pro triathlete, a really good pro triathlete. And anyways, Colin, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Noodle On with Noel. First of all, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks, Noel, for having me. It's been a few years, but yeah, it was a fun season coaching you.
Yes. Yeah, it has been like, I want to say that was 2023.
I think it was
No,
2022,
2022. Yes.
and then maybe rolling into 2023. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, since then you've done a lot more Ironmans. You've
Yeah.
launched your own
I've gotten
coaching
better.
business. You've got
I
a
have my own coaching
podcast.
business.
You got your
Yeah.
own brand. So I think it's been cool to see you grow quite a bit.
Yes. We have done, yes, I guess we both have gone uh pretty far since 2022. But I want to get into, obviously, well, first of all, Colin, how long have you now, I guess, been out of triathlon?
I guess since I got formally suspended, I think it was April 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So almost 2 years.
Or
If you
no,
don't
over
know, over
almost
2
3,
years?
2.5 years it's been.
Oh, wow. Time is flying.
Yeah, I know,
If
it's
you don't
gone
know,
quick.
Colin was, and I'm sure you actually do because people who will watch this probably know who you are. But Colin was suspended from pro triathlon for EPO. If I'm, which what does that stand for? EPO.
Erythropoietin, which is your naturally occurring, in my case, artificially, exogenous outside of your body's production. But when you go to altitude, erythropoietin increases in your body, which tells your body to increase more red blood cells so it can handle being in an environment where there's less oxygen, right? And then so in my case, it was taking it exogenously, it's an extra amount to increase red blood cells.
So basically, and that is basically not, it's illegal in triathlon, in most sports.
All sport, yeah, it's WADA prohibited, and there's
WADA
actually many,
prohibited.
many variants of that that would artificially increase red blood cells. But now I've come across breathwork and sauna, which we can talk about later, which
Yeah, I
naturally
saw that.
increase red blood cells.
Have you actually found yourself learning a lot more about that since you were banned? Have you kind of learned more about WADA and all that stuff, or like more than you ever thought you would know?
Yes, I know a
Okay.
lot more about WADA, about anti-doping agencies. I've been interrogated by USADA in LA at a hotel room. They had like all the mics set up, multiple people in the room. And then
Whoa.
also by the ITA, which is International Testing Agency, where they flew me out to Switzerland. And that was like a private meeting in the airport at a coffee shop. That's, those are the ways they do, um, offer you offered me a 1-year silent ban. Like that's how they would offer you these things that are, they don't want everyone to know that these things exist, but it's actually explicitly stated in the WADA code. I believe it's like section 10.7.1.2. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's that, section in the WADA code where it says basically any organization can give you zero ban, no forfeiting prize money, just make it completely go away in exchange for substantial assistance, which is left like very vague and subjective. So whatever that means, substantial assistance, they can offer you. Basically, that's why we see the early retirements people at their peak just retiring, and then we don't hear anything about them. And then there's also
Wow.
people who get injured or sick for a year, and then that's the 1 year silent ban. And so
That's
this
what
exists.
silent
This is in
means.
the code. Yes.
So, okay, so that was we were talking to catch you guys up, we were talking a little bit earlier. I was like, "Wait, pause this, Colin. We should say this for the podcast because it's perfect talking point." Yeah, he said you were flown to Switzerland from by WADA and you were
By
told
ITA.
or by ITA and you were told if you give them give them who you were working with, more info, who else is doping, you would get a silent ban. And so from my understanding, a silent ban is you don't compete for a year, you just get sick for a year, and
Yeah,
there's
so it'd be
no pro Tri
1
News
year.
post.
Exactly, yeah, so it'd be
Yeah,
all kept hush hush, 1 year silent ban, and that would they were specifically looking for information with people I was associated with
right.
and that they were also investigating, and I actually didn't have any evidence, otherwise we wouldn't be here talking because I would have had a silent ban, but
Okay,
just
my
so
question
people
is this.
know that they exist, you know?
Well, so my question is so, okay, that's very fascinating because so you had someone with you, because you're saying so you did EPO by yourself. You administered it by yourself to yourself. But had you had someone and literally said like, yes, X person, Jack or someone, John, was doing something, was also doing it, what would they do now? They would go after John and ask and get him. He gets offered a silent ban for more info and
I'm not
is
sure.
oh, you're not sure.
I mean,
Okay.
the extent of it, like, I was thinking, like, if I was, looking back,
Yeah.
it's kinda stupid to do it on your own because if you are working with a doctor or with a group, the silent ban exists so that as long as you trade information, you're always gonna be protected.
Right.
But, like,
And
when you're working alone, you don't have that protection.
so this silent ban's interesting. So like whenever we hear about athletes, and this does happen a lot in triathlon, I will say it happens probably to other sports. I'm sure it happens in all sports. I just don't follow very many sports except triathlon, super in depth. And these silent bans, it's only a select group of people know someone was caught. Like a very select group of people, like 5 or 6 or the entire
Just
administration.
the specific, like, anti-doping agencies, whether that is USADA, it's United States, anti-doping agency, or ITA, International Testing Agency, like, they don't have necessarily direct communication with each other unless they reach out.
And so all these people needed none of them can say anything about you if you like they if there was a silent ban, you couldn't know they couldn't say anything to anyone, like their families, it's all super
Yeah,
because if it gets
they'll be
out that
quiet.
you were caught, it's really bad to do
Yes.
that,
I know, and so,
right?
like, if you're an athlete right now and you think this is ridiculous, go into the WADA code that you signed up for and look at that section, and I can pull I may have a YouTube video on this whole thing, and on this
I'll put
section
it in the comments.
specifically.
You made a YouTube video of this? Or
Yeah,
you found one?
yeah. No, I
Oh,
made
we'll
one.
put it in the show notes. Guys, at the end of the episode, we'll put the show notes apparently. You made a whole video about this? Cool.
About I basically I go through the entire WADA code for 2026, which
I
just
should
got
watch that.
released about 3 weeks ago. And so a lot of people don't know what's on there. Like there's just a lot of terms and a lot of like
Yeah.
classes of drugs. So I break it down, explain what these are, what they'd be used for, why they even are on there. Is it health and safety? Is it performance? Mm. And yeah, I explain this section here in the WADA code. So if you're an athlete, you're like, I believe, a lot of people blindly believe in the anti-doping, in WADA code that say like, "Hey, I just trust you guys to make this a fair sport." But in turn, like, they're not very transparent. They're not transparent at all about what goes on. So it keeps this illusion that as long as there's testing, we're gonna be, a clean sport and a fair sport, and that's just not the case. So I implore anyone who's an athlete and is abiding by the WADA code to actually read through it and understand how it's operating.
Do you think to some extent you opened the floodgates in terms of making it do you think it's been since you were a very big kind of pivotal point, not pivot, yeah, I guess. Do I wonder if you do you think you made it easier? Do you think it's now easier in triathlon to dope or same without getting caught or same level, like nothing's changed? Or do you think you've made it harder in terms of like we caught a big name. They got a big name. You were a huge name and you were caught doping. I'm just wondering, what does that mean for the rest of the pro field? Like, does that mean it's like easier now in terms of like, I don't know. Does that make any sense, this
Yeah,
question?
I don't think anything has changed. You know,
Nothing's changed. Okay.
a lot of news and all that is a perception. So people have a
Okay.
perception of like, oh, like, when they start to see more people caught, they're like, oh, yay, the sport's getting cleaner. But that's also just because Ironman is only prescribed to external testing with USADA and other agencies like 4 or 5 years ago. So like the history of Ironman, you don't know
Wow.
what happened because there was internal testing. They could
Right.
just keep their test, whatever positive test, to themselves instead
Right. I
of,
have heard this.
yeah. So you don't know, and we won't know.
Right. I know you've been asked a lot about I'm even doing it now, a lot about the technical stuff, but I kind of want to know. And I think I remember Colin did his first podcast about this on a sh another podcast called the Triathlon Hour. If you wanna go listen to it, that was, like, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever, when it first happened. But I wanted to know, when you first found out, and I think you talked about this, but my viewers haven't heard this. What did they say? What was like, who reached out to you? Was it just, like, a phone call? Was it a were you kind of
It was
aware, like, "Oh, I'm gonna get popped?" Like, did you
it
know
was
you were gonna
initially like I missed a phone call. I think it was like a Monday morning, and it was a WhatsApp call, and it said like, I need to we need to make a call. And so I looked up the number on Google, and it came up with like a LinkedIn profile of this guy Nicholas Radunsky, and he's this like former Homeland Security,
Whoa.
ITA, International Testing Agency. And then my heart was like boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh no. So then, and like 15 minutes later, kind of like collected myself. We jumped on a call. It was over an hour. Basically, he was just like interviewing me and drilling me. He's using these like tactics, negotiation tactics, to like, get more and more information.
Yeah, what do they
And then
say? Sorry to interrupt, like, what do they say? Like,
well, they were just like, "Who were you training with? Where were you? Like, what were you doing here?" Like, every known associate. They were just like really in depth, asking a lot of questions and trying to get a scope of, was it just me? Was I working with people? Like, that's the main thing they were trying to figure out. And then they told me is like at the end of the call is like, "Oh yeah, and you tested positive for EPO. We're gonna send you the results."
they didn't tell you that before the call. They did it
No.
afterwards. Okay. I want there was probably a strategy behind that, right? To, like,
Yeah,
not
probably.
I'm wondering I feel like if they told you, like, the
It's
news
all
before.
very strategic. Yeah,
Yeah. Were you kind of knowing you were already caught when he called? Like, did you know this is like,
I
you
knew it
had
was
did
not
you
a
have
good
to
thing.
okay.
Yeah, like I could feel like anxiety.
Right. Okay.
But then my next step was like, okay, what do I do? Like, how do I, tell my family, like ideally in person? How do I clean up my life in Spain? Like, sell my car, get my bikes back. Like, I don't want to be in Girona when this news breaks. So I consulted a doping agency law firm in London, the top ones that worked on the Chris Froome case and a lot of other big profile cases. So I had, a couple phone calls with them of like, should I fight it? What should I do? Like, do I have any grounds on this? The first call I made was like actually Andrew Messick. And at the time, like his reputation was not great because of all this stuff going on in the podcast. But like I called him and he was a super nice and genuine guy who gave me some really sound advice. I was like, your character is defined on what you're going to do after this, not necessarily what you've already done. And I thought that was really wise because he'd been around a lot of the pro cycling doping news when he was working in pro cycling with Amgen Tour of California.
I
So
had no idea he worked for
that
that, by the way.
I didn't either, but
Yeah,
that's
that's
what you learn. And so basically, I asked for a month or so to delay like the news coming out, so I had time to see family and tell close people in person.
oh, you can do that. You can just say, like, "Please don't say anything
I
for a
mean,
month." You can ask
yeah,
that.
they want like they're for athletes, like they want
Right, right.
to care for athletes to some extent.
You so you knew okay, so on that phone call, he said you tested positive for EPO, and then afterwards, like, what was, like, the f could you sleep that night? I'm just wondering, like, what it probably, like, traumatic in hindsight, a little bit?
Yeah, it was not easy.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I was already, like, in a training camp in Boulder, and then
you were in Boulder when you found out.
and I'd actually been injured, like, a week and a half prior because, like, I was playing with bike fit and my saddle was too high, and I was doing these workouts, and then all of a sudden, like, the low back, I had tons of pain, went to go see a massage therapist in Boulder, and then I couldn't after the massage, I couldn't even get out of the table. I was crippled.
Mm,
I was like, "Oh
shit.
gosh." I was like, "This is not muscle." And I had herniated a couple discs.
From your bad bike
So,
fit?
like, from bad bike fit and then just, like, pushing through that. And so I was really
Wow.
crippled, and I was in Boulder, and then now I had to keep this silent. So it was actually it was not a great month.
How did you So you found out, and, like, the next day you go to at the time, I guess Raleigh was still there, or anyway, I don't know, somewhere, and, like, do you talk like, did you were you able to, like, talk to people normally without, like I don't know. I feel like if it was me, I'd be like, I would leave Boulder. I don't know. It just like, it wasn't something that stopped your life immediately, obviously. You kept, like, training, sort of? Or no, I guess you were injured. So I
I
don't know.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was injured, so it actually was, I could actually make that excuse because I was injured. I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what my plans are gonna be for the next race or the future because I don't know about this injury."
Right. You and this was that, like, the I don't know yeah, this is another thing I wanted to ask. Was that, like, the only like, what made EPO, like, the one to go to instead of, like there's, like, a ton of other shit you can do too, like, there's tons of stuff, but, like
Yeah, I mean, just not
yeah.
that smart.
Okay. Well, no, but so
I
I
talked
heard
to someone
yeah.
later who was helping me with, like, blood testing, not doping. And I was like, "Yeah, I tested positive for EPO," and he was like, "I mean, well, that's so stupid. Like, why weren't you taking something else that's better and not detectable?" I was like, "I didn't know that was an option."
Okay, yeah. Well,
So
I
so
was
there
gonna
are
say yeah.
a lot of other stuff in that YouTube video. I do explain what those are. So
Is EPO but I've heard my understanding of EPO is it's super dangerous. You can like, mess up and just kill yourself, like, without any no?
cyclists in like the 90s and early 2000s were doing that, mostly in the Netherlands, and they were doing it because they were doing such high doses. And so it's
Right,
like a
okay.
dose response because back then, like there were the test hadn't been developed, so people were really abusing how much they could do. Right? If it's like if a little bit helps, then more will help more, and that's not the case because you start to take too much, your blood is going to have too many red blood cells, which creates really like a thick blood. And so when you're pumping blood throughout your entire body, puts more strain on your heart, beating
Right.
something that's moving slower and harder to move. And in that case, the heart will stop and you'll die.
I
But like
heard
I
you get
never got to that
that deep.
point. No.
Well,
No.
I heard in, like, the Tour de France doping days back in the, like you said, '90s, 2000s, they had to, like, get up at night and,
Yeah, yeah. Set
do
timers.
push-ups or something, right? So
Yeah,
they
their
wouldn't
heart rate
die?
would get so low and then they would like
Yeah.
get up and get on the bike and do push ups so they can get their heart rate up. And that would
Yeah,
be
I
scary.
always
Like that would be
associated
honestly
that
really scary.
with EPO. That's what I associated EPO with, but they were doing other
That's the
shit too.
abuse of it. Yeah. Sorry,
Oh, this
there's
is after a
yeah.
while of it. Okay.
The abuse is, like, taking too much.
Okay. I was going to say also, like, could you tell a difference? Like, is there a big difference? I guess you weren't really
There's a
training at the
difference
time,
in,
though.
like, your recovery. So,
Recovery,
like,
okay.
if you are doing this massive day, the next day, you would just be able to still push.
Yeah, and also, the other thing is not something sorry, I can, like, just look this up, but it's kind of fun to talk about. Actually, I don't think anyone else is gonna, like, go look, but it's an injection, right? You have to, like, inject it?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
So
a muscle injection or a vein injection?
well, there's if you're doing it's, like, subcutaneous, so it's in between your skin, fat layer, and the muscle. But
Yeah, so a
then
big needle.
your detection no, it doesn't matter what needle, but your detection window that way goes a lot longer because as it takes a lot longer to get through your bloodstream and then be processed by the liver and then
Okay.
excreted. And so like the faster way is through intravenous, so injecting into your vein because then your body will process it. It's not in your body as long.
So you should so if you don't wanna get caught, do it that way, you're saying, the intravenous way.
Yeah, but even now, like I looked up, there was a much more specific EPO test that WADA uses since 2021, which I guess I didn't know
Oh,
about. But like that, can catch a lot. And then there are many, many variants of EPO because you can change the amino acid structure. So there's like erythropoietin alpha, beta, theta, gamma. Like there's all these different ones, and not all of them will test positive, but they're obviously hard to get. So you would almost need like a
So that was my
specialist to
next
create these
question.
for you.
I don't know if you're allowed to say, but I'm definitely gonna ask, so how do you get it? Like, where do you get it? Is it
You could
just
just search right now on Google.
dark web or not even
No,
dark web,
just
just
anywhere.
normal
Yeah,
internet?
there's all these any of these sites that are like bodybuilding, peptides, steroids, which you can all buy online. You
Yeah,
can get that.
so you can just get well, that's what I was thinking also. I was like, I'm wondering if you c if 'cause there's no shortage of steroids in, like, the bodybuilding community, obviously, if you
Yeah,
look just
it's
look at
huge. Yeah.
Instagram, and
And
I'm just
even
wondering, like, how
peptides.
are all these, like, what, like, teenagers, college kids finding steroids? It can't be that hard.
But also, now that I'm retired, I have like more access to doping than I ever had as an athlete. Just working with, in gyms and working in
Right, right.
clinics, like there are many doctors who do peptides. Like, and that's just everywhere. It's not illegal. It's totally normal. I know many, many people taking peptides for recovery and injuries, and they also offer,
Where
PRT, that's
peptides technically
testosterone.
steroids? Is that what that is?
No,
What are
it's
peptides?
different.
Oh, okay.
Peptides are like just another amino acid group, so different proteins that
Okay.
act as like a signal. So your body then produces more of it. And that could be used
Okay.
for anything like growth hormone. A common one that many athletes are using and probably don't even realize is banned is BPC 157. That's used for injury healing, wound healing. But
These
yeah,
are all
that's a whole
pills? Are
nother
these pills
topic.
or injectables?
No, there's both. There's both.
Okay. Probably you would know if you shouldn't be doing something if you're injecting it.
I don't know. I know triathletes who I won't name, a lot of age groupers who do. They tell me their whole routine that they work with, methylene blue, ozone, IV bags. I mean, that's all banned and they don't realize it.
So do you
And
think
there's no test for it. So it's like, you know, what are you going to do?
right. So not okay, so none of the stuff you just named shows up on tests? No. Okay. These are called peptides? Um,
Yeah, but there are
peptides
some peptides that they do test for. You can't just,
I know.
take anything you want.
Guys, I'm kidding. That was a joke. I am very fascinated in this stuff, though. I remember a while back, it was even said on some notes or something that, like, you studied blood. Were you like a blood you did, like in your college or something, you did, like, blood,
Yeah.
something?
So my college thesis, which was like because I was in the honors program, so that I had enough scholarships to go to school, you had to do like a thesis, an undergrad thesis. And there were two parts to my study. One was body composition. So I did, the skin fold testing.
Yes,
Have you
yes,
ever
I do
done
know
that?
that.
So I did skin fold testing on all the cross country and triathletes and did like a longitudinal study over a year of how that changes from one year to the next year as a collegiate athlete. And then compared that with the bioelectrical impedance scales. That's where you like barefoot and then you step and hold onto a bar and it'll put electricity through you and kind of say
Yeah.
what percentage fat and muscle you have, that kind of stuff. So that was part one of the study, just tracking that. And then I tracked hemoglobin mass and hematocrit from year to year as well, just along with the study, just to see what would change with our small
Wow.
group of triathletes and cross country athletes. And I think the only conclusion, there was no statistical significance because my group size was too small, but the college dorm life, like the college cafeteria, is terrible for body composition. Everyone gained
Right.
fat.
Everyone
Even at
gains fat in college, right?
yeah, everyone gained fat, and they were athletes, they were cross country, they're in triathlon, and because of the food system, the ones eating at the cafeteria, like, all gained weight.
Yeah, because it's, like, all just it's like a buffet every night,
Yeah,
right? Like, with,
and
like,
then
everything.
yeah, and then the blood changes, it was kinda sporadic, some increased, some decreased, and some stayed the same. So there was no conclusion that I could come up with, that the
Okay.
study revealed. But yeah, that was I
So
had to do something.
yeah. My other question is or I have a lot more questions, but I have was this something, like, you, did in your house, just, like, in a room? Or, like, was it,
No,
like
no, I
no.
got a grant, and then we
No,
purchased
sorry, that you
VPO?
I
Yeah,
switched
you could
subjects
do
really
it
fast.
wherever. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you
You
just
could
do
do
it
that
wherever.
anywhere. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I did switch subjects really fast. Oh, so did that, well, you went to CU Boulder, right? No?
No, I went to Marymount University in Virginia. There was
Okay.
actually the first varsity triathlon program in the US, and it was just kind of crazy coincidence because I was already in Virginia, went to high school there, took a year off just to join CAP, which was like at the time the best swim team in the nation. Katie Ledecky was swimming there. So I was like, I really wanted to go to college and D1 swim program. And I was like walk on material, but not recruiting material. So I just dedicated a ton of time to just swimming. And then I got burnt out. I got pneumonia all before the December swim meet where I needed to get these times to then get
Wow.
recruited. And I was getting frustrated. Like I would swim with Katie Ledecky and I would just get lapped in like a 300 long course. I mean, she's
That shouldn't
insane.
be frustrating. I guess in hindsight,
But
but
like,
she's like,
I'm like, I want to
"Yeah,
be a swimmer. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden, girls are beating me. I didn't know at the time she was like literally the goat of
the best
swimming.
in the world."
So I'm just like comparing myself to whoever's around. And I'm
Right.
like,
Okay, that
man,
makes sense,
like
yeah.
I'm just not a swimmer. And so I quit swimming in like, yeah, 20, what was that, 2013?
Okay.
And I'd already done some triathlon, but I wasn't thinking about going to college for it because at the time there was no really option. And then I get a call out of the blue from that coach, Zane Castro, who's recruiting. It was like, hey, like, did you go to college? Because I took a gap year, and I ended up just committing to Marymount because I had some scholarship and it was close to home, and I got to do triathlon.
Wow. And that was the first collegiate team in the whole US?
The first varsity, so there was like
Varsity.
we had coaches, on salary, scholarships, funding,
How
travel
did they
to
give you all
races.
bikes?
They got bikes. School.
They all
We
got
just got a
bikes
budget.
for the whole team. Wow, that's really cool. So you've been doing this, yeah, so how long have you actually done triathlon?
My first triathlon was 2008. Sprint triathlon, Dewey Beach Triathlon,
Like,
Delaware.
2 decades, like 20 years.
Almost, yeah, almost.
Yeah.
But I
You,
just did one, and then next year I did that same one, and then 2010 I started to do a few.
taking them, like, a little more seriously.
Yeah, I did like the Junior Elite series.
Can I ask you, like, when guess my this is how do I put this question? Because like, you had this whole community, this whole kinda I mean, triathlon is a massive community, it's a ton of connections here and there. When this happened, were you kind of just like you just stop, like, every per the people you talk to every single day, no longer talking to them? Like, did you get messages from people who were like, "What the fuck? Why didn't you tell me?" Like, I don't know, like, how did that work? Can you explain a little bit about, like, how you basically? Because now I watched you on social media, you were a realtor now, right? So or are you still a
I
realtor?
do I do real estate, yep, and I'm a
Real estate,
breathwork
yeah,
coach, breathwork facilitator.
yeah.
Yeah, getting back into like coaching athletes, also so
So,
houses.
I guess my question is, that's a whole new life, like, the old kind of I guess that's what I'm
Yeah,
kinda
you're seeing
picturing it
what the
like.
crossover is like how many
Yeah,
people I still, connect
yeah,
with and talk to in triathlon now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah, I'd say when it all happened, I thought like everyone's gone. I was like in my mind, like
okay.
even my family, I was gonna be disowned and all that.
Really? You thought
And
your
I
family would also
wasn't.
be mad?
I'm like worst case thinker. So I'm just
Okay.
like, oh, I'm done. Like no forgiveness, nothing. Like I've got to go hide in a hole or something. But,
That was what I'm
I left on
asking.
my yeah, and but people were amazing and my friends who I know, in that point, like, I know who was with me in triathlon just because of my status or my ability and who were actually friends, and that was huge because those are the people that brought me back to be like, "No, like, we care more about you as a person than anything you did in the sport." And, like,
That's awesome.
because I was in my head as, like, all my worth is achievement, and I'm never good enough because I need to keep on moving up that ladder, and so when that happened, like, I didn't even realize, people saw me that way because it's not how I saw myself. Because even my own self-worth was proving myself all the time, and so it was those friends and family who came and was like, "No, like, we want you here, and we want you back and to stay in our lives." And that was hugely impactful. I mean, That was all the
Yeah.
change I needed.
Was this kind of a process or, like, you found, like oh my well, like, was this, like, a process, like, you went to Switzerland, and then how long were you in Switzerland for? Like, this was, like, pretty much right after that first month?
So I was in Switzerland for a day.
Or was this,
Uh,
like, a really quick trip?
yeah, I think I spent the night there, and I was in Spain and then going back to the US.
Okay, and then this is where you, like and so did you have, like, a few months or even I don't know, like, what was that period of you just kind of severed triathlon from your life? It's not really a and you don't really like, did you have a period of, like, "Now what am I gonna do?" Like, do I oh, yeah, you did, duh.
Well,
You
yeah,
went on a
that was my bike
massive
trip. Yeah, yeah.
yes, your
Yeah,
bike
yeah.
trip,
So I
yeah.
didn't know really, I wasn't trying to think of anything. I just the first thing that came to my mind was, like, I was on YouTube and I was, like, looking at people bikepacking to Argentina. I was like, "I could do that. I wanna do that." And for me, being on a bike has been always special. Even in high school, like, that was where I got to be free, and I would go biking and explore and be like, "Oh, wow, like, the world is open." And then I've seen the world on my bike, which is just an amazing way to travel and
Yeah.
meet people. I'm always meeting incredible people on a bike. And so that was the first thing that popped in my mind. I was like, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll go figure out what I need, get everything I need, and then begin." And that was it. It was in total, I went 5.5 months
Wow.
from California all the way through Mexico and then all of Central America, down through Panama. And then I went to Colombia and then traveled a lot in Colombia. And that's where I ultimately came to a place where I was like, I want to go home. Because that
Okay.
was, even though I said I wanted to go to Argentina, that was the goal. That was still like an arbitrary goal. Like I had every country where I was going to spend this amount of days, so I could just like boom be on a schedule, just like I was as an athlete. It's like here's the training program. If you knock this off, then you'll hit your results.
Right.
And so I was still on that athlete mindset. It was like I got to get through Mexico in 1.5 months. I got to get through Costa Rica in 3 days, and like there's not any time to see explore. I kept meeting people on the road or in hostels or other bikepackers, and they were challenging me of like, well, what's the rush? Like, why can't you just spend another day? And I was like,
Right.
no, I gotta go, like, because I gotta make forward progress. Because I gotta feel like I'm making forward progress,
Yeah.
even though I knew that trip was internal.
Yeah.
And in Nicaragua, I went to a breathwork retreat, and that just opened me up and completely,
That's what
like,
you do now.
became free. Yes, because it was such a transformative experience for me to be able to process these emotions I didn't know were there, and even it's a psychedelic experience just with breathwork. So I saw childhood memories and stuff come up and then be
Wow.
released. And afterwards, I felt so light, and I was like, "Oh, I feel like, truly hopeful and excited for life." And I was working with a psychologist from BetterHelp.com, and like that was fine. It was a conversation. She was helping me.
While you were bikepacking,
Yeah, I would just
were you using
take
BetterHelp?
it on the side of the road. Yeah,
Oh,
I would
wow.
just
They should
take a
use you
meeting
in the
on the
ad for that.
road.
Wow, because that would almost be a whole other podcast to talk about to you about. Because 'cause I'm so interested in that trip. How did you find yeah, you spent 5.5 months bike packing. Was that, like, a known route? Like, other people have done it, or did you just, like, make this all up? Like,
There's a lot of people in the bike pack community. They've all done it, and so like
that's, like, a
everywhere has
known
been ridden. Yeah, but like
oh, okay.
every day, like I just knew I just needed to go south, so I didn't really care the route and the day. I would
Uh,
just wake up
right.
in the morning and be like, okay, where? How far can I bike? 10 hours,
But is
12 hours. Okay, where should
like,
that land me?
all back roads, no highways, I assume? Like,
No highways, back
highways, okay.
roads, dirt roads, everywhere.
That's
And then I just figure out where I'm gonna sleep. As it gets kind of dark, I'm like, okay, I started to look around. Where can I set up my tent?
you just set up a tent just kinda anywhere.
Yeah, side of the road.
Well, that's did you go through El Salvador? Because 'Cause I've been there.
I did. El Salvador, it's an awesome country.
It is a cool country.
When did you go there?
I went
Pre or post?
pre-COVID, 2019.
So when it was still in chaos and disorder?
Yes, yeah. That's why I'm wondering, I guess yes, it was still
Because
the
that's what
considered
I
the most
thought. I thought it was a
dangerous
terrible,
country in the
like,
world.
dangerous country, but then the new president put, like, a bunch of people in jail, like, a huge
Yeah,
percentage of the country, and now it's super safe, and people actually came out of their houses
yeah,
as I biked by and were like, "Hello, my friend." I'm like, they were so friendly,
they're so
and they
friendly.
use the
I went in
US
2019
dollar.
when it was still bad, and they said and everyone's like, "Don't go there." I went through for a Habitat for Humanity trip, and I didn't find it dangerous. Well, I don't know. I just thought it was funny that yeah, and now everyone's like it's literally gone from, like, a really, really, like, the most dangerous country in the world to now apparently, like, really safe and
Yeah.
happy
Yeah,
and
you can go surfing, there's all these wellness
yeah,
retreats, there's a lot of cool stuff to do.
yeah. Okay, so then you did that for 5 months, and that was kind of your break from, like, the world.
Like, yeah, figuring out how did I get here? This is not where I saw myself going. This is not in alignment with my values. Like, how does someone or how do I make the decisions that led me to this point that I'm not proud of? Right? Like that's the hard questions is like where did that come from?
Right.
And then it was the other part, the identity of an athlete, which so many people here can relate to, is like that became my identity early on, probably in middle school, because that gave me my status, my friend group, my, purpose. I was like, oh, this is what I'm good at. And for that to all go, you really have to be like, okay, well, who am I now without the sport?
That was that was, like, the first thing I thought of when I heard I don't even know where I heard it. Just I think I just saw when I saw, I was like my first thought was, like, when you're deep and I'm not a pro and you were a pro, but when you're deep into, like, Ironman training or deep into triathlon training and, like, you have a goal, it's, like, 4 weeks out from your big race. This is, like, you live every single day, swim, bike, run, like, you I almost can't I've done it less time than you, and I don't know, like, I can't see a day where I wake up and I'm, like, not I don't have to go do 11 400s in the
Yeah,
just
yeah.
something like I don't know, and I'm wondering how I guess you had your 5-month break, but was that, like, almost a detox? Like, you're, like, detoxing of, like, how do you like,
Sort
I
of,
don't
but
know.
actually not. Like I biked 100 plus miles a day. Like
Yeah,
I was
you were still
exhausted. Like
training.
I was still
Oh,
destroying
yeah.
myself. I got so light. I was like 135 pounds. It was just like a stick figure with a beard
I was gonna
but
ask
like,
that. You lost weight during that, probably. You lost a
yeah,
ton of weight.
I was already light. I was already like,
Yeah.
because I was in triathlon shape. And then when you're like, I would try to bike from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and maybe like 2 hours or so stopping and eating and whatever, changing flat tires. That's a lot of time on the bike for
Yeah.
months and months and months. And so it
You got
became
on
pretty
a
mission, and then I
135?
got pretty light, yeah. And then
My
I
god.
got some parasites in Colombia, so I was, like, really sick. Nothing,
Made you even lighter?
would stay down, made very light, very weak. Then before when I knew the trip was done, I was in Colombia, I'd been hit by a car, robbed, my knee was, like, all jacked up, I was in a lot of pain, and I was like, "Okay, these are signs. These are like, hey, maybe your time is done to go back home." And so I rented this bamboo cabin in this little coffee valley in Colombia for 3 weeks. And one of those weeks, I fasted for 7 days.
What?
I started with like a 3 day fast. I was like, oh, maybe this would be healthy. And then I kept deep diving and it's like, oh, there's like spiritual fast and there's like, oh, prolonged fast, really good for your health. And I was like, oh, maybe my parasite can go away if I just don't eat the food.
So
And
what'd you
I
do
became
for
like,
3 weeks? This is for 3 weeks you were in this cabin before
I
you went
did,
this is after
yeah,
the
yeah,
trip.
3 weeks. After my trip, I was still on the trip. I was like, I need space and time to meditate and journal and process the trip so I can come back home. And that was a great time because like now I'm just boom right back into the US. I needed that gap to think about, okay, well, what am I gonna do? Who am I gonna be? Like, what am I gonna do when I get back home? What am I gonna work? Like all that, just a time to think and be still. Because it was just go, go, go when I was
Yeah.
on that trip. Just every day was new. I meet new people, I do new things, and so that was good to just reset.
Did you figure it out on the trip? Did you come back with a plan? Like, "I'm gonna do this, and" like or did you still not have kind of any
No, I
direction?
didn't. Yeah, I didn't have any direction. I
Okay.
knew where I was, like, with me, and I had some ideas of what I wanted to do when I got back, and then I had to be like, okay, so I became a personal trainer. I did a
Yeah.
breathwork course, so I got like certified. So I started just learning and doing stuff that I was interested in, and then I was like, I don't know breathwork coaching. Like I don't know what that's going to look like, how that's going to work. So I did personal training in Denver, and it was terrible. We get paid like $23 an hour, and I'm working with just basic people who walk into a gym. I'm like, okay, well, if you just be active,
Stay
Like, you're gonna be
consistent.
healthy, like, staying consistent. It's so hard for them. I'm like, "Guys, like, I'm not gonna like, my programming isn't gonna make you amazing. Like, you have to do the work." So I quickly quit that and I joined real estate because they were hiring personal trainers and athletes
Real
for part of
estate.
their, like, culture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Back because you mentioned something. We skipped over like 3 things. First of all, you did a 7-day fast in this cabin. Is there
Yes.
like I guess the cap this is so American of me to ask, but the cabin doesn't have like does it have Wi-Fi and stuff or TV or
It has
any type of
Wi-Fi.
so you do have like your
There was
phone?
no TV. Yeah,
Like
I
you
had my
can scroll and
phone.
stuff?
Yeah. I
Okay,
was trying to, like, not be on
I assume, yeah,
social media, and
especially
so
because
I
of
was like
what
it was
yeah,
education, learning YouTube videos, reading, journaling.
okay, and you just didn't eat you obviously have to drink water, but is that it? Just water for
Well, the
7 days?
water, like, you couldn't drink the tap water, so, like, the place where I could buy water was a mile away, and so I, like, would walk there and with some 2 jugs, and then toward the end, it was, like, day, like, 6, I was, like I could barely get out of bed, I was just, like, dead all the time, and so I
Yeah,
had to
how does it
walk
feel?
and then bring back, and then that took a long time.
Wow. Did you go and you just said, "I'm gonna fast for 7 days," 'cause you had looked at benefits, but you did so no food for 7 days, nothing.
No food.
Wow. What does that feel like after, like, day 2?
Day 1, 2, 3, even 4 was fine, like, I was to go on the walks, like, going on, like, little short hikes, and then those later days, I just had no energy, and I eventually was like after about 3 or 4 days, I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm gonna do." Like, this is the intention of it. It was I've always relied on my physical strength my whole life.
Yeah.
I wanna bring my physical strength down to realize, like, my other strength, my spirit, my mental capacity, and, like, kinda bring that to light, because there's more to me than just being able to swim, bike, and run fast, and I had to, like, really feel that.
It sounds like you never really, like I know in your bio now it says you went to rock bottom, but to me, it doesn't sound like you well, I guess I don't know obviously the full, like, what you went through personally in your head and stuff, but it sounds like you never really kinda gave up. Like, you never, like, said, like, or did you? Did you, like in terms and what I mean by give up, I mean, like, crash out and, like, I don't know, just not you seemed like you got I mean, going on a 5 month bikepacking trip is, like, pretty epic and, like, it still takes a lot of, like, work and, like, you didn't it's that's a lot of work still. And, like, you weren't,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah.
I
Does that
definitely
make
never
any
gave up. Yeah, yeah, I never got to the point where I gave up. I haven't been there, and I
do
don't
you
know where that comes from,
yeah, you weren't, like you
but I did
still
spend the first
saw
month crying every day on a bike,
well, that's what I wanted to
alone. Yeah,
why you were in the
yeah,
first
while I was biking.
backpacking.
Yeah.
You were okay, so, like, did it feel like you like, I don't know if you I kinda know who your circle was, but did it feel like you actually were, like, lost, like, genuine friends? I know you told me the friends who stuck with you are your friends out of triathlon, but did it feel like you were losing, like, a ton of people? Or I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
I knew, like, a lot of the people I was with were people I would because I was already so nomadic, I didn't feel like I had that, like, close group.
that's true.
Like, my friends that were mostly outside of the sport or whatever, family, a FaceTime, and yeah, and I understand, like, when I got suspended, like, of course, those people who I trained with are probably not gonna still be friends because that would look bad for their image. But there are still friends in the sport who are friends with me, and I love that and appreciate that.
You're like me, I'm one. I'm not a pro, but, I do think I'm still in this sport, sort of. I wanted to
Yeah, you
say
are.
another thing. Yeah, I'm still yeah, it's been but I wanted to say something also. So, like, does this so I actually just Googled you because what was I trying to find? I was trying to find something. Anyways, I Googled it, and it is the first thing that pops up about your name is this, when you Google but I'm wondering if, like, people who don't know, "Hi, I just met you in your, like, new job, in your personal training." Is this, like, something that comes up somehow, or does it
This, like it's been interesting this last 2 years. I've been really involved in Denver, in the community, in the health and community, like, fitness space, and I love that. I love being able to just go into a place and find and build and foster a community. There's awesome people all around, and without me sharing, like, few people know. Otherwise, people just know me as a breathwork instructor or
Coach.
facilitator, and I do coaching and run events.
Okay.
And now that I've started, because I've started working with a social media coach and working on growth there, because I have a business partner, Charlotte Bergen, and we're working on a 10-day performance reset course. So it's a mental coaching. She's a mental sports performance coach combined with breathwork coaching and my experience working on a deliverable online course. And
Cool.
so that's why I'm starting this social media growth is like, okay, let's get this out there. But a lot of people didn't know my story. And
Okay.
so I actually it is helpful for when I actually share it. And it was hard. It's been hard for me to share that story. But
That was
I've
my other
worked through a
question.
lot of things and now I'm opening because I realize how much it can relate to so many different people and wherever they're at. Because no matter who we are in life, like we've gone through failures and had to rebuild. And it's never easy, no matter your circumstance. And I think I can be a voice there of hope and hopefully help people on their
I
own
think you can
journey.
too. I absolutely kind of resonate with this story in a different way, but kind of, yeah, especially about the rock bottom part. I did wonder if, like, is this something like you, like, are hesitant to share to a brand like a colleague or something? I didn't know that, but that never seems to come up. It just, like you said, people very rarely, like a few here and there do know about it, but other than that, it's just kind of, uh, not a non-issue, just something you've been
Yeah,
through.
it's I
And
mean,
also it was
it's a
2 years
non
ago.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the people the bike trip was the best thing for me because I met people on the road in these other countries, and they didn't know who I was. They didn't have any clue what I did. They don't even know what triathlon is.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah.
like, I would meet them, and they would judge me based on how I treat them. And it was just so new for me to realize that. It's like to not go into a situation where people already have like an idea of who I am or a reputation behind me. And I was like, wow, like if this is what's important is how you treat other people
Yeah.
because that's what they're going to remember. And then later in the conversation, if it comes up, I'll tell them. And then they're just like, oh, that's incredible. That, they're not judging me based on what I did, but like how I've overcome it.
Do you think, like, if you could I'm sure I don't know if you've been asked this. Maybe your therapist asked this or you asked the BetterHelp. Seeing a therapist too right now, by the way. So, but what I wanna say is, if you could go back and just not dope, not get caught, still be in pro triathlon 2 years later, seeing what the sport's doing now, would you go back and not do it and still be in pro triathlon? Still be every day waking up, doing 70.3 worlds in Marbella in Spain in 2 months, something like that. Is that something you've thought of? I know it's a stupid question. It's a very hypothetical question. You can't do it.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
I think there's one way in which I would come back, and it would be like to actually have a community, live in one place, have a community where I see people every day. And it doesn't have to be pro athletes all the time, but every age groupers, normal people, pros, and to be plugged into a community, but to have a motive that's not coming from I'm not enough. It's not coming from I need to prove myself and coming from a place of like I get to do this and I get to do this with my friends and with my community. Because then every day you're just in this abundance and joy instead of like being fueled by I'm not enough. I have to push harder. So I have to do this race. And if I don't hit this time, I'm going to be sad. And, it's robbed me of my results.
right.
I say it all the time. It's like, I need to hit 10 hours. I need to hit 9 hours. Like that's just subjective. It's totally arbitrary. Did you do your best? Did you have fun doing it? Like those are the two things that matter. And so if I were to go back into triathlon, I would be doing it that way, not
Right.
caring about the results and I was thinking like results equal success and results equal sponsorships, results equal money. And, people like yourself have proven no, like if you grow a following and a brand because there's a mission behind it where you're helping other people, that's value to companies for sponsorship. And you don't have to have the financial stress and pressure to win races because you're already giving enough value by just being yourself. Like that's the only way I would ever come back into the sport was with that mindset and with that community driven experience.
Because it isn't your band technically up?
It'll be up
Aren't you only banned for 2 years?
next year, 3 years.
3 years. We're getting to the hour mark, so almost done, but I have, like, a few more questions. The first one was, when you just now, based off what you just said, when you were fully in, Like, you had just won one of the PTO races, and then, like, you were about to, that year when it happened, when you were fully in, like, 11th in the world or something, were you enjoying any of it? Were you, like, literally full, completely results focused? You weren't did you ever, like, take a step back and think, like, the entire time, like, I love doing this. I'm having so much fun. Like, this is awesome." Or, like, that wasn't does
That
that make
wasn't
sense?
no,
Yeah.
I was not in the celebrating any of it or realizing how far I've come. Like, right? Like, I'd never had the perspective of like, "Oh, I'm so proud of where I am now." Be like that, myself 10 years ago would have been so happy where I was. But, like, that was never the perspective. As soon as PTO win, it was like that momentary, like, "Yes." And then boom, right in the interview, it was like, "But I'm really focused on Ironman Kona." Like,
Yeah,
that's
because
what
it was, like,
my
what, like,
goal
3
is.
months later or something. So then
No, 3 weeks, 3
3
weeks.
weeks
So I
later, that was it, yeah.
immediately went into, like, insane training, um, just destroying myself, and even going into PTO, I was not sure. I knew I had conversations. I was like, 'cause I had a really bad hip pain, and I had to, like, back out of a couple workouts leading up to that race. So I was already like, I know I'm really fit, but I'm either gonna, like, DNF or win. And there's so much anxiety. Like, I was like, "I don't know." Like, I can either do really well or I'm gonna DNF. And then it just escalated in those 3 weeks leading up to Kona. I pushed workouts even harder, and the week before Kona, like, I was bed rest. I was in so much pain. I did not train once. I was not in a good place. So, yeah,
In
I was
Kona at
never
Lionel's house, right? Or something. They're
no, in
like
Kona, well, in our training camp, like, in
yeah,
Kona.
okay. Oh, you
Like,
weren't
I
doing
did the week
the
before
week
the
before
race.
it,
Yeah, I
you
did,
weren't
like, a
doing anything.
4-hour ride. It was, like, 290 watts, and
I
then
think
a
I saw you.
2-hour. Yeah, I think I saw you there too, and I did 2-hour runoff, a ride at, like, 6:15 per mile, and that was my race. Like, to be honest, I felt amazing. I was going s but then I did my race and training, and it was none. And so
Yeah,
there was
I always wondered yeah, back then, I was like, "Why are you guys doing?" Because I think you vlogged all of it, or Lionel vlogged all of it.
yeah,
You guys were doing a
yeah, yeah,
lot, like,
way
7 days out. Way too much, and I was like, "This is, like, not helping you for this race." I guess some people maybe it is, I don't know, I don't think it is, but, yeah, and then my last question before I forget was real quick, way at the beginning I skip around a lot, obviously. Way at the beginning of the interview, you mentioned how you were, like, in an interrogation in LA. Can we just step back? What was that? So, like, they had cameras and stuff, and this was back when they were trying to determine if you
So
had
this
help
was
or it
actually on my bike trip. They were like, "Hey,"
was on your bike
USADA was
trip.
like, yeah, because I talked to Travis Tygart and another guy at USADA on the phone. They're like, "Hey, we really wanna interview you." Like, I didn't have to, but I guess I felt like I wanted to or needed to. Maybe that's just, like, the people-pleasing person in me. It's like, "Oh, yes, I'll do it." I'll go be interrogated.
What'd they say it
And then
was? They said it was just an
they're like,
interview?
"Hey, we just wanna sit down and interview you." Uh, so I'm biking, and it's kinda crazy. Like, I biked from Mammoth. It took me 3 days, the 3rd day to get into LA, and I thought I was gonna get to LA on in 2 days. I ended
Mhm.
up sleeping, like, under an underpass on freeway outside of LA, and then waking up and then biking to a hotel. I had to bring my bike in to get the elevator up, and they were like, like, "What is this?" And, yeah, there's just in a hotel room. They, sat in a chair interviewing, recorded.
And it was the same questions, just
Yeah, it was all the same stuff.
okay, okay. And then does any of these people reach out now currently, or is it are you, like, off their
No,
radar? Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. They've got
Yeah,
so
I wonder
much
so
going
once they
on,
have,
like,
like, an athlete who, like I guess they don't keep you guys, like, tabs on you or I don't know.
maybe. Maybe I'm being
Oh, yeah,
I don't know,
okay.
who knows? But yeah, it was I lost my train of thought.
Well, were they all relatively nice? Like, are they, like, mad? Or
Yeah.
they're, like
No, they're
they're,
they're
like,
nice
nice?
people, like, I could just tell, like, I'd listened to enough podcasts and read some books about interviewing and
Yeah,
questioning. I was like, they were using tactics, like
they were.
tactical investigating, because 'cause they're all, like, former Homeland Security and,
Yeah.
it's funny. It was funny to be
It was
like, "Oh,
almost
I'm
like
in this game."
Like, they were using stuff to really, really, like, proven legit, like, interrogation stuff to try to get or, like, tactics to get more information out of you.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. That's
And
hardcore.
yeah, it was a cool experience. I wouldn't, recommend it, but I think it'd be fun to go through to be like, yeah, I've been, interrogated.
Okay. That made me think of one more question. Was anyone, like, really, like, called you and was, like, pissed, like, mad? Like, I wanted to like, "I'm so mad at you for lying," or not lying, well, maybe lying. I don't know if you lied. Did you I guess you no, you didn't. You just didn't say anything. Sorry. But was anyone, like, called you, was, like, really mad, like, disappointed? Like, did you get mean phone calls or something?
No, 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 only
No.
mean Instagram comments.
Right. I
That's it.
saw those.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's yeah.
People do not do that nowadays, I guess.
Right.
Like, not in our sport. Like, I know a lot of people who I've heard talk really badly behind my back.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of Boulder people, but, like, that's gonna happen. No one's to the face. I remember, I think it was 2 summers ago, I went to Boulder Sunrise Triathlon just to
Oh, I've
help
done
out.
that.
Yeah, I had some friends doing it, so I was like, "Yeah, I'll hang out, do some photos." I had some age groupers, like, call me out while I was, like, on the course taking photos. They're like, "Oh, Colin, like, amazing." But then I saw a bunch of pros in the common area, but no one ever came up to me.
Yeah. Okay, so then you yeah. Well, also, I've always found you said Boulder. I've always found Boulder, even if you haven't been a pro who was caught doping, has always been, like, not super friendly. It's, like, depends on if who you know, and if not, if you're
Yeah.
not in the little clique, it's not very friendly. But I totally, yeah. So, okay, so yeah, but no one just really, like, no one said anything, like, to you, like, "Hey, you're a piece of shit." I don't know, something that never
No,
happened. It was
no,
just mean
never
Instagram
happened.
comments. That's
Yep.
really cool.
And actually,
That's
I've
good.
looked back because I kept my original post up, and it went from, like, almost 900 comments to over, like, I don't know, I think maybe it's like 400 or 500 comments because a lot of people have deleted their comments.
Well, people went back and deleted them?
Yeah. And at
Okay,
the
yeah, I
time,
hadn't
like,
touched on it.
my friends were like, "Just don't read it. Like, don't read the comments." And I didn't, so
Oh,
it's
that's
still
a good
there.
idea. I don't read any of 'em. I barely read my Instagram comments. I mean, I get told horrible things, really
I know,
bad
I've
things.
seen I've seen a bunch of yours.
And
I'm
I
like,
don't know,
"Man,
I
you're getting
it's like
destroyed, and
TikTok,
you're not even
yeah.
caught doping." Like,
Yeah,
jeez.
kind of. I don't do anything. I just, like, post about my workout and get told to kill myself.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That's
that's okay.
crazy. But you
It's
experience
just
it, people are just so, not everyone, but, like, some people can be so mean online, and it's the loud voices that we pay attention to, but more so, the majority of comments and messages are all super supportive
yeah,
and kind. So it's like,
yeah.
pay attention to those.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard to do that, but yes, it is, and I honestly feel like a lot of these people they don't. Would never say this shit to my face. They just don't. I don't get no one tells me that to my face. It's always
No.
behind a fake profile. So
Yeah.
and you just said it happened to you. Like, no one said anything to your face, right? It was you heard people were talking shit, but, like, I don't know. That also is like I one of these commenters literally say this to my face, and it never happens in real life. So it's just over a keyboard. Yeah. Yeah.
So keep
Oh, so you
living.
still have your
Keep
original
living
post
in
up?
the real life. Yes, the one
Okay.
where it's, like, the white box
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
letters.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Since there's only been one other caught, I think,
Well, there
Imogen
was this
Simmons.
other case, right? No, there was the Thomas Rodriguez and then Imogene
Oh my
Simmons.
god, Chicken Guy, yes, I forgot about him.
Yeah, chicken,
That was, like,
chicken.
a week or 2 no, that was, like, a year after you it was really close to you, I think.
Yeah,
No?
yeah, yeah, it was like a
Yeah.
year after.
Yeah, and he didn't admit to it like you did. I actually wanna know your thoughts on that a little bit, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you said, "Hey, I did it."
Yeah.
He
Well, I think he argued that contamination case, so I think he'd only have a 2-year ban.
No, he argued he argued contamination.
Yeah.
It's very rare, that in my knowledge of seeing athletes get caught doping, actually say, "Yeah, I was doing it." It's always something, "It was in this,
Yeah,
it was in
some
that," and
excuse. Same,
some
yeah.
excuse. So I'm wondering
And
if
the ones of like, "Oh, my boyfriend was taking that," or, "Oh, I kissed this person," and I'm like,
yeah, that
It's
one's
kinda crazy."
it is. Their excuse was they had it having sex with their boyfriend, and Thomas was chicken and eggs, and so your thoughts are, like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you have thoughts on that? I guess that doesn't yeah. Like,
I don't have any coherent
any
thoughts
words
on
on
that.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about him, and he actually said this is another folks, for you this is another doping case in triathlon. His name is Thomas Rodriguez, and he actually did take a 2-year ban, but he said specifically he's even, like, still posting training videos, like, he's coming back to the sport.
Oh, yeah, my friend saw him at, Ironman 70.3, what, like, 3 weeks ago, a month ago,
Okay, not
and
doing it, just, like, hanging
no,
out.
like, being around, like, cause his coach and athletes like that.
Yeah, so he's still absolutely planning
Like,
on coming
he's
back.
100% still planning coming back, and,
See, I
like,
wonder how that would
I don't
go.
have any need to, like, redeem myself in that sense.
I wonder how that would go because I know people won't be kind, like, at all if he's just like, maybe not, I don't know, or just ignore him, I don't know, but it also from now on would put, like, I don't know, that's you don't really see people coming back after this. Can't
There's
really
been a
think of
few
a
triathlon. Yeah, there's some older guards that have tested positive maybe in cycling and then
in
come into
cycling and then switch to
yeah,
triathlon.
and then yeah.
I raced one in Japan, and I was mad. He was racing in terms of, like, he was, like, a world champion. I don't know. He was some guy who was racing in Japan anyways, but yeah, okay, so yeah, I forgot about him. Well, I want to real quick give you a chance because 'cause I've been talking about this a lot. So what is it I wanted to say just shout out to your my audience. You're a breathwork coach in Denver. You have a YouTube channel. Wait, are you
Yeah.
still in Denver?
Well, yeah,
Well,
so
right now you're
right now I'm in Denver, Colorado. I am a real estate agent, but I'm also doing performance breathwork coaching. I've led retreats, 1-day retreats, 3-day retreats, 2 nights, do one-on-one coaching, work with a whole bunch of people, whether it's athletes or CEOs, anywhere in between, who wants to use their breath to really improve their performance because I've found a ton of performance benefits of just breathwork, sauna, cold plunge, where I did a trail marathon, even ran 31 miles this summer with no training. I was like 4 weeks. I had stitches, injuries, and I do a lot of sauna and breath work. And cardio wise, increases VO2 max, cardiac output, works on mitochondria efficiency. So, anyway, I'm really interested in the performance side of breath work because there's a lot of hippie side of breath work, but the science is there. The testimonies are there, working with athletes who are improving their running paces, improving their ultra endurance performance. What another guy I coached dropped like 15 minutes off of their ultra year to year just from nasal breathing. Another guy helped coach. He did 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days. That's the Great World Race. So people are already using breath work,
how's
and
that
now
possible?
it's called the Great World Race.
How do you
And so
get from
they have a chartered jet,
Oh, okay, they
and
have their
the
own jet.
whole race is going from continent to continent. But it's
Well,
still
that's
super hard. You're like barely sleeping. You're in all different time zones,
yeah.
and it's wild. And so
You, like, wake up, do a
he was
marathon,
super
get back.
helpful with our breathwork training. We did some one-on-one sessions in the gym. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm fascinated with.
Yeah, and I will
I've got a
plug all of
10-day
Colin.
reset course coming out, online course.
Yeah, I will plug all of that in the show notes, you guys, and you can follow Colin on, I guess, everywhere. Instagram
Instagram is my main. Yep.
Instagram.
But I
Do you
want to
do
get into TikTok. You got to help me.
I
You
was
got to
gonna
help me with
say,
TikTok.
you are really if you're gonna get into your
Yeah,
social
yeah.
media, start. It's like the
Yeah,
algorithms are always changing. It's, like, good to
I
get
know.
on these new stuff because it's kind of fluctuating, and right now it's kind of on the upswing, so you should do that.
I'm going to use you as my coach.
I will absolutely I was gonna say, do you do remote coaching for breathwork? Is that a thing?
Mhm. Yep.
Or does it have to be
Remote
in
coaching.
person? You do remote breathwork
Yep.
coaching?
Yep.
Okay. I
Link
have to talk
in
to
my
you after this.
profile. You can just schedule consult.
Okay, I might have to, talk to you after this about that because 'cause I'm very interested in breathwork. But yeah, that was 'cause this is Colin, and he is in Denver, but yeah, you guys, I'll put his stuff in the show notes. Thank you, Colin, for this. This is really cool, and
Oh,
it's good to
thank
talk
you,
to you
Noel.
because we talked a while, 2 years ago and haven't talked in a long time. So, anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
good to see you. You
Good to
look really
catch up.
good. You look healthy. You look like also, I wanna say you look, like, stacked, like you built
Yeah, I've gained like 25 pounds.
yeah, you're
I'm
like
actually at a healthy weight.
yeah, you're, like, actually, like, built now, like, it's that's looks like it took a lot of work, but okay, yeah, thanks, Colin, for coming on,
Yeah, thanks, Noel.
and yeah, alright. Talk to you
That was
soon.
a great noodle with Noel.
Noodle on with Noel. My TikTok audience came up with it.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. It's a cool sign.
All right.
All right. See you, Noel.